going to now delve into a little politics. We have a representative in the New York State Senate who actually has made some news as of yesterday in the last 24 hours. He is State Senator Adriano Espaillat. Bienvenido, Adriano.
Thank you.
Welcome
Gracias.
to San Juan. I know that you feel right at home.
Yes.
A native of the Dominican Republic, the island nation.
Via Washington Heights.
Via Washington Heights. You know Nick Powell, of course.
Yes,
and
Nick, how you doing?
Thanks for coming. I know you got off a plane late last night.
Yeah, late.
So thank you for being here.
4 hours sleep for you, Gerson.
I know, but I hope you had some coffee. But I know that I know the cafe that motivates you. Politics.
That's right. That's right.
Nick, please.
Yeah. So, Senator, you announced your campaign for the 13th Congressional District the other day.
Yes.
This will be your third time running for that seat. But this will be the first time that you're not challenging an incumbent in Charlie Rangel. So I'm curious. I mean, do you see a third time as a charm? Do you see that this being an open seat gives you maybe
Absolutely,
a smoother path to winning the election?
No question. Both elections were very tight. 1%, 2% difference against a well-known entrenched incumbent of 40+ years. In the U.S. Congress, so I think that an open seat gives me a path to victory, to convince those voters that already cast a vote for me, to cast a vote again, and also to build a broader coalition in other neighborhoods that perhaps I didn't do as well as I wanted to.
Sure. Now, do you, with Congressman Rangel retiring, do you see this race as something of a kind of referendum on his legacy or a commentary on his legacy? And I'm curious also, as a kind of second part to that question, how do you view Charlie Rangel's legacy over his many years in Congress?
Well, Charlie Rangel is an icon in New York City, New York State politics. He's known throughout the world. And so, I'm not going to cast judgment on his legacy. I think he's worked very hard for the district. I think that the district is now turning the page. And I think it's a good thing. It's good to have a new vision. It's a new time. We want to have new ideas, a new vision for the entire district that now stretches all the way up to Gun Hill Road, up by Montefiore Hospital, and as far south as 96th Street on the east side and 120th Street on the west side.
Reflecting those changes in the demographics of the district and the boundaries of the district, it's well known that one of the things that the Dominican community in particular, not only the one in New York, but throughout the states and back home in the Dominican Republic, we're looking at to elect the first member of the House of Representatives. You took the plunge, you were out there, you did it twice, you took 2 defeats, where, defeat is a defeat, you win by 1 vote, but there comes a point now that you have an open seat, you already have Keith Wright, you have Adam Clayton Powell, you have Bill Perkins, a colleague of yours, you have Clyde Williams, and there's one, I forget the lady's name, there's one other, so there's 5 candidates. So, and you jump in, and all of a sudden, and I actually wrote the piece, your fellow compatriot, Guillermo Linares, and you guys both have made history, sort of beat you, if you will, at declaring his candidacy. Now you have 2 Dominicans in this district, with 2 African Americans, a Puerto Rican, and 2 additional, a male and female, lesser known activists in that district. So you're going to wind up with 7 or 8 candidates, with 2 Dominicans, popular Dominicans, both of you in your own right. Does this decrease or increase your chances?
Well,
I mean, Adriano,
I welcome everybody to the race. Everybody has the right to run. We'll see at the end of the day. We still have a long way to go, how the field shapes up. Whether people stay in the race, they don't stay in the race. We'll see what happens as we move forward. But I think that I've established my record. I ran twice, 2 strong races. People have voted for me. Almost half of the district, nearly half of the district, has cast a vote for me for Congress in the past. And so I hope that those folks will do it again. Not just Dominicans, but also Jewish, Irish, Puerto Ricans, African Americans have voted for me in the past 2 elections. I hope they'll do it again. And I'm excited about this race. I think that I come into the race as the front runner. I think that
really,
I believe so. I've got very close to 50% of the vote in the 2 prior elections, and now this is a very crowded field. So We'll see what happens as we move forward, but I'm very excited about the race, and I'm happy to be here in Puerto Rico and be listening to the issues that are impacting the island. I will be moderating Saturday a workshop on higher education, but today I will be joining my colleagues in both the opening of an office by the state government here and also the rally that will take place to address the issues of the economy. And this is the type of vision that a new congressman should have for that district. And we shouldn't have a learning curve. And so I long advocated for a Caribbean-based approach to politics, right? Which means basically that these three islands, Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, are on the path of natural disasters, hurricanes every year. There's no reason why we should not develop a model, a protocol to assist these islands as they're hit on a regular basis by storm, earthquakes, and the likes. And so, in agriculture, just this year, the region was hit by a terrible drought that crippled the agricultural business, which in some cases, in many of these islands, is an important part of the economy. What can we do to assist these countries, this island, with regards to the agricultural problem? The Medicaid issue with Puerto Rico, 46% of the island's population is eligible for Medicaid. You have a $72 billion debt. The Jones Act, Puerto Rico is not able to accept, to be able to trade, to send ships to other ports. That's ridiculous in an era where, the Congress is looking at the Trans-Pacific trade deal in Asia, and Puerto Rico right there, a hop, skip, and a jump from the northeast coast cannot do that. So these are the kind of things that need to be addressed. I would look to put together a select committee of Congress to take a look at Puerto Rico's present and future, because this is something that happened now, but there's no guarantee that the island will not hit a real bump in the road as we move forward.
I know Nick has some questions, but you speak there and you make it seem like, okay, you're talking in the abstract here. 2016 is approaching, presidential year. You have almost what is supposedly a fight between two people, that being Senator Bernie Sanders and ex-Secretary of State and Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. You're going into a convention, which you will be participating in, which the New York delegation, I was talking to Basil Smikle the other day, and he's working on that very. What are you guys walking into in terms of what you just laid out? Are you being listened to by your own party? What's the platform? Are you pretending? Does New York State, does the Latino delegation from that within the Democratic, or you just
I
guys,
think that will be,
or is it just hot air?
No, I think that will be an important issue to be addressed, and I think that restructuring the debt, the Puerto Rican debt, which President Obama has said now lies in Congress, is a real action that must be taken, and this is something that candidates, whether it's Bernie Sanders or the candidate that I support, Hillary Clinton, must stand for. And so this is something that will be taken up. I think
but you had Hillary in the White House before, and it's like, did she really listen to you guys? And if she, come on. Hillary is like, she's this thing and she talks. Puerto Rico, she's always said, Puerto Ricans resolve the issue of the status. She's always said that.
Well, look, the status issue is another issue, and you know that issue very well, and is a contested issue in the island and both here in Puerto Rico and in the United States. But this current crisis, which is stands to put the country in default, must be addressed, and restructuring the debt may resolve it now, and it may bring some oxygen back to the Puerto Rican economy. But a broader approach to the region must be developed and adopted by U.S. politics, right, and the U.S. government. And that is how to address the region, the Caribbean basin, with regards to emergency preparedness, agricultural help, tourism. Cuba is about to open up. Millions of tourists will rush to Cuba.
They're saying as many as 5 million.
Well, how would it impact Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and Jamaica and Haiti? How would it impact the Caribbean basin? What model can we adopt that is similar to some of the models that are being implemented in Europe? That everybody wins. That this potential crisis could then become a great opportunity for the region. So these are the kinds of policies that must be implemented for this region that obviously will help us back home because you have many folks from Puerto Rico in the 13th Congressional District, many folks from the Dominican Republic, from Mexico. So how do you approach the region? I think that for a long time, foreign policy, right, the U.S. government, the good neighbor policy that many years back we tried to exercise has disappeared. So I think we need to come back to really take a look at that again and see what kind of new policies we could implement to prevent these things from happening again.
Now, taking it back to the 13th district for a second, Gerson mentioned the very kind of wide field of candidates, as many as possibly 7 or 8. From a messaging standpoint, how do you stand out from the pack? What issues are going to drive your campaign this time around that might be different from the previous time around?
Well, look, housing and education continue to be 2 top issues because housing is a critical problem in the district. People continue to be priced out of the neighborhoods. And so how can we bring the federal government, HUD, and the federal government back into the housing business, particularly in NYCHA? You see how NYCHA now, we see the fights over NYCHA capital funding.
The New York City Housing Authority.
That's correct. We see the fights between the state and the city government as to how much money should be put into capital funding and what it should be used for. Should it be used for independent projects within the NYCHA buildings or the envelope or rebuilding the envelopes of the building, meaning pointing and roof work? These are critical issues, right? The federal government, which has deep pockets, has abandoned NYCHA for a long, long time, and housing in general. And so we must bring government back in the housing business to provide affordable housing. That's one. Education, critical because the district is very young. Is a young district, is disproportionately young. So how do we bring higher quality education to the kids is a critical challenge. And immigration for me is personal because I'm an immigrant myself who came to the States with no paper, and I know how that feels like, and I know that there's 12 million people that were like me, and I know we should do something about them.
By the way, make it clear, he has his papers now.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to follow up.
Make sure Donald Trump knows that.
I just wanted to follow up on the NYCHA topic for a second. So the mayor and NYCHA chairwoman Shola Olatoye have put forth a plan that's kind of a revision of the Bloomberg infill plan, selling off some of NYCHA land to build kind of mixed-use housing and retail and things of that sort. What do you think of that plan? Is that the best use of our resources in the city to kind of rebuild the NYCHA system?
I'm not supportive of that plan because I think NYCHA complexes were built with a certain vision and a certain logic, right? And part of that was open space, a playground for the kids, a senior center, a community center, parking space for the residents. This was all conceived when NYCHA was built. It's part of a vision for families, right? And so to sort of like just stick a development right in the middle of a playground of a NYCHA complex, I wouldn't support that. Now, this shows how bad the situation is that the city and NYCHA have to resort to developing some of the available open space in the NYCHA complex for potentially high luxury developers and housing. That shows the need for capital dollars, and that shows the fact that the federal government has been an absentee landlord with regards to NYCHA and housing in general.
Let me take you back to what I know you love, which is you're running for office for the 3rd time for a district that you seem to know fairly well. You got close, not close enough. You mentioned earlier, and it's stuck in my head, that let's see, it's a long race. It's 2016. It'll be, there's a primary and all that, very competitive primary. You said that there'll be candidates dropping out. Is there any chance that you reassess your position once you look at the numbers again and drop out? Is that a possibility? Because or are you in it to?
I'm in it to run, yes. I'm in it to win it.
To win it. You're in it to win it.
To win
so you already looked at.
That's a good slogan.
That's a good. Well, actually, I saw you 2 weeks ago in Washington.
Espaillat que vamos.
Espaillat que vamos. So he played on with Espaillat que vamos. That means here, Espaillat, here we go. But it's a Spanish thing.
You can't translate it.
You cannot translate Espaillat que vamos. But, so you took a look at the numbers.
Yes.
You took a look at the district. You took into account, the bochincha that was going, who's going to run or who's not going to run. So you took into account. and you still come up with the numbers to say that I still have a
Absolutely.
chance?
No question about it. Look, some people will drop off, some people will jump in. You know, things will change as we move forward in the next 8 months or so. But the fact remains that I ran twice. I ran tough races, very competitive races against a very tough challenger. You know, we're talking about Charles B. Rangel, and with outspending me 2-1. With Nancy Pelosi and the Washington establishment,
The big guns.
the big guns going against me, and so this is a scenario that's quite different now without him in the race. I feel comfortable that I will get those same votes, and that in a crowded field I will come out a winner.
Exit questions. Do you still have the same supporters with you that you had? Unions?
You will see some supporters rolling out in the next couple of weeks, and you will be re-encouraged that Espaillat que vamos.
State Senator Adriano Espaillat,
Thank you so
for
much.
dropping
Thank
by.
you. Thank you
I
so
love
much.
your guayabera,
Yeah,
and,
look
it's,
at that,
and it's
huh?
tailor-made, so you got to give me the name of your tailor.
Okay.
No, I got it, man.
You gotta go to the island. You gotta cross the pond.
Really? It looks beautiful, man.
Thank you so much.
Cuídate. Take care. Thank you for joining us.